Gentlemen, now we will begin our round of questions. Just a reminder, you have 90 seconds to answer the question. I have had people in the past say yes or no and defer their time. That's always helpful too. The first soft question is, do you subscribe and read any papers? If so, which ones? And what was the last book that you read? We will begin with Jason.
Okay. I read the Times-Herald on a daily basis, and I also follow news via the internet with Philly News and read the Inquirer, and also CNN and WPVI online every day. As far as reading, I have a great love for reading. It's something my parents instilled in me, and I'm blessed with the opportunity to instill that love of reading in my children and in the students that I encounter every day. The last book I actually read was this afternoon. It was Why Am I So Grumpy? But that was a children's book, so I assume the question was intended to be about adult-level books that I've read. My first love is history, and the last two books that I just finished over the past 2 weeks, one was a biography of Commodore John Barry, local hero of the Revolutionary War, that I was able to purchase at Valley Forge, and I met the author. And the other one was a book that I purchased at the Lincoln Memorial about 2 months ago called Stealing Lincoln's Body, about some misadventures of Abraham Lincoln's body after his death. And the book that I'm currently working on is called The Global Achievement Gap, that looks at how we can better education and what some other countries around the world are doing, and the advancements that the United States is making also in the field of education. So I have a great love for reading. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Carolina.
Thank you. In terms of the publications that I read the Times-Herald, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and from time to time the New York Daily Post and the Chicago Tribune. I try to have a well-rounded background as to what's happening in other areas of the country and not just locally. In terms of news programs, I listen to MSNBC periodically on a daily basis, and also CNN. And from time to time, I will also lock into Bloomberg News for financial news. I have a sincere interest in financial news of what's happening here in our country, locally and around the globe. As to books, I can honestly say I have not been a big reader of hardback books or novels. Most of what I read are inspirational books, the Bible being one, and also books that will help to inspire me to keep me going on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you very much. As I promised you, that was the easy question. Now we'll get into some challenging ones. I'm taking the questions in the order presented to us. They are being reviewed by 3 people up here so that there's clarity to the question. I'm finding 2 or 3 questions similar, so I will merge those where possible so that you get the most questions answered in the time allotted. And if you need me to repeat the question, I'll expect you to ask me. Okay. Question number 2, do you believe that there is a constitutional right to have an abortion clinic in Lower Providence? We will begin this question with KC, alternating back and forth on the questions.
I can't say I believe that there's a constitutional right. I think that if any business or medical facility has the ability to provide the ordinances or be approved by the township, then it should be allowed to be in business. Now, if the question is whether or not I support freedom of choice, I do. I believe that each woman has the ability to make whatever decision is good for her and her family. Thank you.
Same question for you, Jason.
Fundamentally, I believe in the separation of powers, the federal government, the state government, and local governments functioning independently of each other. I believe that the question as it's asked is a federal question. I will tell you that I am pro-choice. I believe in the sanctity of life from the moment of conception on, and I believe that as far as the local level, it's the voice of the people that should decide the businesses that exist here in our township. And I believe that the voice of the people, as represented by the supervisors, should be making that decision. And if that's not a business that Lower Providence wants here, then they should be able to make that decision.
Thank you very much. Question number 3 will be directed to Jason to start, please, or Jeannie. In what ways have your college experiences prepared you for this opportunity?
I'm a lifelong learner. I've had the opportunity to go to college and to continue my learning throughout my entire life. I have a Bachelor's of Science degree from Shippensburg University in Secondary Education Social Studies, and was able to continue my education by earning 2 master's degrees. The first one is a Master's in Political Science from Villanova University, where I took courses in negotiations and developed a background that would benefit me to a great deal in this particular position. I also earned a second master's degree from Gwynedd Mercy College in Educational Administration, and that allowed me to become an administrator, which again has provided me wonderful opportunities to lead and to gain administrative experience. And just recently I finished a postmaster's certificate from Villanova University in Human Resources, which again has provided me excellent learning for a position such as supervisor, which requires a great deal of human resources background and experience.
And KC?
Could you repeat the question again, please?
I certainly will. As soon as I locate it. In what ways have your college experiences prepared you for this opportunity?
Well, in terms of my college experiences, I'm a graduate of the Community College of Philadelphia. I have an accounting degree, an associate's degree in accounting, and due to economic needs within my family, I went right into the work world. So as a young gentleman of 20, I was able to enter into the field of commercial banking, but the background I had in college prepared me for that experience, and I've sat at the table and I've participated in the decisions of multi-million-dollar projects to affect loan businesses or corporations to expand and to keep their operations going. So I've spent all of my working career, some 37 years, in the field of financing and banking and economic development. And that comes into question when you have projects that come before the supervisors to make a decision on whether this is a good project for the township or not. So I have that practical hands-on experience of reviewing financial statements and pro formas, and I have 37 years of doing so.
Thank you for those responses. Question number 4, and it'll be directed to you, KC, to begin. Do you believe that there should be quotas based on affirmative action for hiring in the township?
I think there should be a quota to hire the best qualified person for a position, regardless of their race or their sex. We're looking for quality educated persons. You're looking to fill positions, and you want people to have the background to do the job and have the ability to grow within the job. So I wouldn't necessarily say you want to put a quota saying that you need so many percentages of African Americans or Asians, but you want the best qualified candidate. The most important thing is to expose the whole contingency to the opportunity and not limit it to just a few people.
Thank you for that response. Jason, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, thank you. I also believe that we should always seek to hire the best candidates. I have the benefit in my position, my professional life, of being able to hire people, and we've always sought the best candidates, looking at what the needs are of that particular position and looking for those people with the best educational background and work experience that will fill those. A quota system isn't necessary because if you solicit applications and look for the best folks for those positions from all areas and all, extend that search to areas throughout our township and throughout our neighboring community, you can be assured that you'll get the best people for Lower Providence.
Thank you for that response. Our next question. Let me check in with the audience, first of all. Can you hear the candidates okay? All right. Anybody that cannot? We do have seats in the front. Anyone who cannot hear me? You're probably pleased. All right. Our next question, and it'll be directed to Jason, please, Sargini. Do you think school taxes are too high? I just read them. I don't write them.
I understand. I think school taxes are the purview of those who are elected to be on the board of school directors. I think that providing a quality education is paramount to all citizens in a community. However, the issue of taxation for school districts is one that is decided by the elected officials who run for and serve as members of the Board of School Directors. In just a few moments, you'll have an opportunity to ask those fine folks who will be up here as candidates. So I highly suggest you ask that question of them. But it provides an opportunity to remind everyone of the importance of the fact that school board and Board of Supervisors are two separate entities that deal with two very separate spheres of influence. They are mutually exclusive and deal with two very different areas. A Board of Supervisors for a township addresses the municipal needs of the residents of a township, whereas a school board addresses the needs of a school district. And in our area, in our community, the board serves the folks of Lower Providence and Worcester Townships. So I believe that it's important to provide a quality education, but that's a question for a different governmental entity.
Thank you for that response. KC, Carolina.
The question is, as I heard it, are the school taxes too high? There's two ways to look at that. I have seniors in my family who live here in the county, and as a senior citizen who's on a fixed income, who might have been hit hard by the financial crisis that we've had, then the taxes become a burden for them. But then they're also looking at the situation of whether they want to stay where they are or move. So the quality of life in Lower Providence and also within the county has been such that people will stay. And as I knock on doors, the people will complain about the school taxes. But as Jason alluded to, the taxes are something that the school board would need to be able to vote on. And as a supervisor, I can only see what's happening in terms of the school district taxes, but I would not have any direct influence over that. Thank you.
Thank you for that response. Our next question will be directed to you, Casey, and it's rather long, so let me read it slowly. The recession of 2008, which affected all wage earners and economics throughout the world, even to this day. In 90 seconds, what are your proposals to reduce the township budget and lower taxes?
What I would like to do is to encourage more businesses to come into the township in the form of small businesses that would employ anywhere from 10 to maybe 100 people. That would help with the tax base because now you have more of a tax base coming in from corporate America. As to the financial crisis, we all have been hit from that. We need to look at ways to reduce any waste that we might find. And there's a lot of areas that we can reduce our expenses in our home and also within government. So one of the first things I would like to do is to look around to see within each department within the township, how can we reduce our cost and our overhead?
Jason, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Communities across the country and the world have been deeply affected by the current recession, and especially here in the United States as manufacturing jobs and jobs across the board have gone to other countries, and that has affected Lower Providence as well. One of the things that we can and should do is create a re-imaging of Lower Providence as a township that is open to business development. And we should look at places like the corporate center at Providence Point and look to ways to rejuvenate that area and to bring businesses back to Lower Providence. At the same time, as we look at the first round of budget talks, it appears that Lower Providence may be experiencing a $176,000 shortfall in its capital budget, in its operating budget, and $150,000 in its capital budget. And we need to look at ways to look at municipal oversight, something the current Board of Supervisors has already undertaken, but something we can do more. For example, one of the provisions within the budget is a $15,000 line item to improve the website. And if you've gone to the Lower Providence website, I think it's wonderful, and I think it serves a great purpose for the residents of Lower Providence. But the question we have to ask ourselves is that $15,000 critical? And that's something that we should be doing across all aspects of the budget.
Okay.